We're kicking off with Raw, and CM Punk set the tone as he opened the show to discuss his next moves after teaming with Roman Reigns and the OG Bloodline last weekend inside Wargames. Punk joined the team as its fifth member at the last minute, with the promise of a favor owed to him by Paul Heyman if the OG Bloodline bested Solo Sikoa's group. Fans cheered as Punk kicked off Raw by making his rounds backstage, sharing brief moments with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso before making his way to the ring. Wasting no time in making his literal point, Punk pointed to an imaginary WrestleMania sign, symbolically declaring his intentions to headline next year's show. Punk hinted at a favor or two he could use on the road to WrestleMania, but recognized that his journey since returning to WWE last year has been riddled with obstacles. Punk also spoke of putting grudges to rest, a nod to his Hell in a Cell clash with Drew McIntyre in October, and teased the Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber as his future. Punk's promo was interrupted by Seth Rollins, who made his return to WWE TV after being thrown from a production truck in October by Bronson Reed, and the crowd sung Seth's theme. Rollins greeted the crowd before reigniting his beef with Punk, saying he regrets not taking Punk down the moment he returned to WWE, and called out Punk's alliance with Roman Reigns. Punk told Rollins to stay out of his business, but the tensions erupted into a brawl fans have been waiting to see for a very long time, but Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and officials quickly intervened. In the ring, Sami confronted Rollins, who expressed his frustration with Zayn and questioned Zayn's loyalty after the Canadian accepted Punk's help inside Wargames. Zayn pointed out that Seth had refused the Wargames spot twice and that Rollins had created the monster when he betrayed Roman Reigns with the swing of a chair in June 2014. Rollins brought up Sami turning on Roman at the 2023 Royal Rumble, and after more verbal barbs, Zayn challenged Rollins to a match later on in the show. As for Punk, the stage is set for some explosive confrontations as we grow closer to WrestleMania season, as the best in the world continues to drum up drama on TV. Now, CM Punk usually has plenty to say when he's on WWE TV, but when it comes to being on Twitter, the best in the world is notoriously quiet. Up until this week, Punk hadn't used his Twitter in over 2 years, but that streak ended when he retweeted a fan who shared their thoughts on the beef between Punk and Rollins. Punk retweeted a fan's message that CM Punk literally did nothing for this guy to be mad at him, but later deleted his retweet of the post. As for why Punk removed his tweet, it's unclear, but there's no shortage of people backing the best in the world in his latest feud with Seth Rollins. Backstage, an unknown assailant attacked Jey Uso, leaving the former Intercontinental Champion clutching the back of his head after the brutal attack. Sami Zayn later said he believed it was Rollins who attacked Jey, believing Seth's loathing of Roman Reigns has expanded to everyone who worked with the OTC in Wargame. With growing animosity between the two, Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins met in the main event of Raw, and Zayn was ready to destroy Seth, believing he was the one who attacked Jey Uso. Towards the end of the match, Zayn berated Rollins with a chair in his hand, all while Seth denied being the attacker and asked if Sami had questioned CM Punk. Zayn pondered the notion, giving Rollins time to take advantage and roll him up for the victory, and as Rollins headed up the ramp, a hooded man attacked Sami Zayn from behind. The attacker hit a Claymore kick and was revealed to be Drew McIntyre, and the former WWE World Champion ended Raw standing tall over the honorary Uso. McIntyre is back in the mix and is presumably the one who attacked Jey Uso, a man Drew has shared his hatred for numerous times due to Jey's past with the Bloodline. Fans can expect things to escalate as Saturday night's main event draws closer, and expect to see more of the Scottish psychopath after his return this week. Speaking after his return, McIntyre said that everything said about him is BS, and that fans can only know the truth if it comes from him on TV or via his social media channels. McIntyre added, "Oh, how soon you all forget," suggesting that his return will lean into his past issues with the Bloodline, and it'll be interesting to see how Rollins fits in all of this. Is WWE setting up a Rollins heel turn, giving his comments this week an underhanded win? Is this the right time, or should it be CM Punk who's turning heel instead? Let us know your thoughts down below. Raw saw Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor confront Gunther, with Balor demanding a World Heavyweight title match as thanks for Balor helping him at Survivor Series Wargames. Gunther said he didn't need Balor's help and wanted to show that he could beat Damian Priest on his own, and instead gave Dominic, someone who's beaten Priest, the chance to face him. Dirty Dom brought the fight, even hitting a low blow, a couple of 619s, and a frog splash, but Gunther is the World Heavyweight Champion for a reason and proved it by picking up the win. After the match, Gunther was assaulted by Balor, who landed multiple coup de grace on the ring general before looking at Mysterio to say, "That's how you do it." Balor later demanded the title match from Adam Pearce, who said that Gunther is equally interested after the beatdown, and the match is on for Saturday night's main event. Moving into Gunther versus Balor in the Judgment Day solidifies what seemed apparent after Survivor Series, where his respect for Priest was met by his disdain for Balor. Do you like this version of Balor? And is this apparent face turn for Gunther the right move? Or is it coming too soon? Share your thoughts and feedback down in the comments section. More from Raw, and while Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were on the losing end of Wargames at Survivor Series, they recovered nicely on Raw with a win over Damage Ctrl. The pair's victory over Karrion and Io Sky was short and sweet, as Raquel overwhelmed her opponents with her strength and ferocity before getting the win on Zayn with a Katana bomb. The heels delivered a beatdown to Sky after the match, prompting Rhea Ripley to make the save, but she was sent crashing into the corner of the announce table. That may have done more damage to her broken orbital socket, but the real victim here is Sky, as the #1 contender couldn't have looked less like a priority. Not only did Damage Ctrl lose, but Ripley's arrival immediately took the focus off of them and put it on her and her feud with Morgan, which has been going on for most of this year. On commentary, Joe Tessitore shared that Sky will get her long-awaited title match with Liv at Saturday night's main event, but it's hard to see a title change given what transpired on Raw. While Rhea's injury angle may justify her missing some TV time, this was a counterproductive segment, with the Ripley-Morgan feud taking precedence over the #1 contender. WWE later announced that Rhea Ripley will face Raquel in a singles match next week, though what condition Ripley is in after this week's show remains to be seen. Are you excited to see Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan continue their feud, or are you ready for both women to move on to somebody else? Share your opinions down below. The much-anticipated 10th anniversary celebration of The New Day saw the return of Big E on Raw, but like so many celebrations in WWE, this didn't end well for those involved. Tensions have been running high as of late between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, with the pair unable to get on the same page, culminating in a heated argument last week. With that hanging over the proceedings, Adam Pearce kicked off the segment by introducing Kingston and Woods, who thanked the fans for what's been a hell of a ride. The pair wanted to come out and say something, adding that it wasn't the fault of the fans, but before Kofi could go on, Big E's music hit to a monster pop. Big E said he wished he was there under different circumstances, as it was hurting him to see them argue each week, and reflected on their support amid his broken neck recovery. Big E shared that until he's cleared for competition, he'll be on Raw every week, serving as Kingston and Woods' manager, another moment that delighted the fans. Shockingly though, neither Kingston or Woods were thrilled with the news, with Woods upset that his now former friend wanted to come back after watching them argue for weeks. Kingston jumped in to accuse Big E of leaving them, adding a "so what" when discussing the broken neck, as the pair named off wrestlers who have come back from the injury. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, and even Edge were brought up, and the duo's belief was that if Big E really cared, he would have been back with them a long time ago. Amid this berating of Big E, Woods claimed that his former friend will never be medically cleared and should get out of the ring, and Big E's offer of one final hug was quickly shot down. Kingston and Woods said it was just them now, and instead of a fun hug that fans have come to love, the pair shook hands as an emotionally drained Big E looked on. This was an excellent segment filled with legitimate Raw emotion and a devastating creative turn for the New Day that fans did not see coming. It also served as a jumping-off point for the next chapter of the group's story in WWE, something fans should be excited to see, but what's next for New Day and Big E? There's a rumor going around that doctors have already cleared Big E, but WWE wants him to train and shake off any ring rust before he returns to get payback on Woods and Kingston. This betrayal stunned fans, who took to social media to share their dismay, as did Chris Yim, the sister of Michin and the girlfriend of Big E. During the segment, Woods accused Big E of not missing the New Day, saying that E prefers his new projects, his new desk job in WWE, and his new girlfriend. On Twitter, Chris questioned why she's being brought up in all of this, adding that the comments by Woods and Kofi Kingston were really starting to piss me off. In a follow-up tweet, Chris said that the biggest achievement of Woods' career was a Burger King crown, so she can kind of understand why he's a, quote, hatin'. After 10 years, the New Day, as fans have known it, have come to an end, and what did you make of this segment? Would you have had things gone another way? Share your thoughts in the comments. Since March 2022, Big E has been out of action after suffering a broken neck, and his lengthy absence from the ring has left many wondering if he's still on a WWE deal. Back in 2019, WWE announced that the New Day had signed 5-year deals due to expire in late 2024, but Fightful reports that no injury time has been added to Big E's contract. That may be because during his absence, Big E has been involved in non-in-ring WWE activities, including digital content work, event panels, and public appearances, so he's still been working. The report adds that WWE is unlikely to add any injury time to his contract, as his original deal was signed with the expectation that he'd be performing as an in-ring talent. Fightful adds that as of this summer, not adding time was the plan, but it's unknown if Big E has quietly re-signed or if he's entered negotiations with WWE about a new contract. Fans hope to see Big E wrestle again, but his long-term health is the priority, and in the meantime, Big E is keeping plenty busy and will now have Woods and Kingston to deal with as well. On Raw, it was announced that Sheamus had suffered a cracked rib at Survivor Series during his Intercontinental title triple threat with Bron Breakker and Ludwig Kaiser. Sheamus fought valiantly to obtain the one title missing from his Grand Slam resume and endured an incredible amount of punishment, including a shillelagh strike by Kaiser. In the end, it was Breakker and his spear that retained the Intercontinental title, another heartbreaking setback for the Celtic Warrior, who shared a photo of his back on social media. Captioning the image with Survivor, Sheamus gave fans a look at the price he's willing to pay to deliver banger after banger whenever he competes in the ring. Now Sheamus can add a cracked rib to his list of war wounds, and while he's hurting, expect the Irish superstar to be back in the title hunt soon enough, as he's down, but far from out. It was a couple of weeks ago that Gunther told Ludwig Kaiser to make a name for himself instead of speaking on his behalf, an order that has lit a fire under the German. That same night, Kaiser attacked Sheamus and Bron Breakker in their title match and came close to winning the IC gold last weekend before Breakker cut him in half with a spear. On this week's Raw, Kaiser confronted the Intercontinental Champion and spoke about how close he came at Survivor Series, adding that nothing will stop him from taking the gold. Breakker said he'd speak to Adam Pearce and would love to beat Kaiser with the title on the line, before stating that Kaiser should get out of Gunther's shadow much faster. That's because, according to Bron, the Ring General's stock is plummeting, and it'll be interesting to see if Kaiser can defeat Breakker for his first taste of main roster gold. Who do you think will stand tall in this feud? Will Kaiser be just another victim of Bron, or will the German use his technical skills to take the gold? Let us know your prediction down below. The December 2nd edition of Monday Night Raw delivered a night full of surprises, capped off by the shocking return of Drew McIntyre. Yet it was what happened after the cameras stopped rolling that truly left fans buzzing. Those in attendance were treated to a pair of thrilling dark matches featuring WWE's biggest names, making an already memorable evening even more extraordinary. The first dark match saw Nia Jax square off against Naomi in a hard-fought battle for the WWE Women's Championship. Jax showcased her signature dominance, overpowering Naomi to secure a decisive victory and cement her place as a force to be reckoned with. The energy hit a fever pitch when Cody Rhodes collided with Solo Sikoa in an explosive encounter. The intense brawl escalated to a wild crescendo, with Rhodes delivering a spectacular table-smashing move to claim the win, leaving fans on the edge of their seats. Between McIntyre's stunning return and these high-stakes post-show bouts, WWE delivered a night that fans in attendance won't soon forget. Raw once again proved why it remains the pinnacle of sports entertainment. The speculation surrounding Jade Cargill's WWE status has finally been addressed, with new details shedding light on her absence. According to Sean Ross Sapp on the latest Fightful Select Q&A, the former AEW star is officially listed on WWE's internal injury list. The uncertainty began after a vicious on-screen attack during SmackDown, which many assumed was part of a storyline. While Dave Meltzer initially reported the injury as legitimate, possibly sidelining Cargill for up to 3 months, other sources speculated it was a work. Adding to the confusion, rumors circulated about WWE potentially stripping Cargill and Bianca Belair of the women's tag team titles. Although it's now confirmed that Cargill's injury is real, the timeline for her return remains unclear. WWE has yet to release an official statement regarding her condition, leaving fans eagerly awaiting updates. Karrion Kross was especially angry on Raw as he reminisced on Nikki Cross haunting Scarlett last week on the orders of Uncle Howdy. Kross laid down the challenge, which was made official shortly after, as on next week's Raw, it'll be the Final Testament and The Miz versus the Wyatt Six in an 8-man tag team match. While this could have been at Survivor Series, the match would have been overshadowed by the other huge matches, and hopefully this match will have its moment on next week's Raw. Interestingly, as Kross spoke in his promo, the "everyone has something to lose" line popped up, potentially suggesting that Kross will use the Wyatt Six own words against them. Perhaps Kross intends to take something from Uncle Howdy, showing that everyone does indeed have something to lose, and we'll hopefully get answers on next week's show. The rivalry between R-Truth and Pete Dunne, which started due to Truth not knowing that Dunne and Butch are the same, wrote its latest chapter during this week's episode of Raw. The fans chanted Butch, much to the frustration of the Bruiserweight, showing that WWE's efforts to train its audience with this feud had paid off. Dunne tried to channel his frustrations in Truth's direction, but in the end, the former 24/7 champion further frustrated Dunne by upsetting him with a roll-up. There was little to this match outside of Truth's typically fun antics, and it's likely that this will lead to an escalation of their feud and a rematch. With that said, it feels like Dunne has so much more to offer WWE than comedy wrestling, and hopefully this angle won't go on too long and damage his credibility. Prior to last week's Raw, WWE revealed the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and ahead of this week's show, fans learned who will be competing to be the first champion. On Twitter, Triple H shared the first round match brackets, which, like the Women's US title tournament, will see 4 triple threat matches for the first round. The brackets revealed that Dakota Kai would face Shayna Baszler and Katana Chance, with the winner facing the winner of Zoe Stark versus Kaden Carter versus Raquel Rodriguez. On the right side of the brackets, Lyra Valkyria will take on Zelina Vega and Ivy Nile, and the winner of that will face the winner of Alba Fire versus Kairi Sane versus Natalya in the semifinals. One of these 12 women will make history, but it won't be Baszler or Chance, as Dakota Kai won their first round triple threat match during this week's Raw. Kai, whose career has been stop-start in WWE at times due to injuries, outlasted Baszler's tenacity and Chance's determination, and now advances to the next round. Though she was defeated, this match was just as much of a breakout for Chance, who really got the opportunity to show what she can do, as it was for the winner. Chance's athletic underdog status highlighted her unique offense and established her as someone with the potential to be a great high-flying, high-energy face, given the opportunity. And we're ending with AEW, as not too long ago a feud began between Christian Cage and Hook, with Kip Sabian, Cage's newest ally, being revealed as the man who attacked Taz. With that said, it's been some time since we got any updates on this angle, and now the feud between Hook and Cage has officially been put on hold. According to Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select's Q&A podcast, Cage's creative direction has shifted, as he will instead be featured in the AEW World title picture going forward. In the chaotic post-match angle at Full Gear, Cage teased cashing in his title opportunity after Jon Moxley retained the AEW World Championship against Orange Cassidy. The story AEW is telling is that Moxley has several potential challengers, including Cassidy, Jay White, Hangman Page, and Darby Allin, and Cage is firmly a part of that list. Fans will now have to wait to see when, if ever, the Cage-Hook angle gets its proper conclusion. And do you think it's right to put the angle on pause? Share your thoughts down below.